Hello everyone, this is Avi Harkishan with Charts. Let's break down a few charts for the week here. Let's start with VIX. So today is December 22nd, 2025. I'm recording this video here at 12:05 a.m. Eastern Time, which is in New York. So we just got over the 12 midnight, pretty late here in New York. Let's start with VIX because VIX tend to gauge the overall market sentiment. So I just want to start with that one. So what I'm looking here for VIX, we're in a falling wedge or a bull flag pattern. Still think we have a bit more side to go down as I am watching the overall indices, SPY, QQQ, and IWM. Two paths here for VIX. I do think we're heading into support right now, which is right at the bottom here, which I call the last point of support, 1462 to 1412. If we do get a bounce, it's going to be somewhere within this range here that you want to watch, which is 1452 to 1412. So I still think you're going to come down here a little bit into this area. Opening session tomorrow, which is Monday. Actually, today, because I'm recording this right now. Opening session today, which is 22nd, December 22nd. Now, the paths that I have here, you can come down here and you could continue to break down. However, we can see some chop as we get to this bottom here and a little bit of move back up and a rejection again. But I'm expecting to see some kind of chop at the bottom here and see what happens. So if you're looking at the overall market and you're seeing SPY, QQ, and IWM, they're opening in resistance area and VIX is opening into support, just be careful longing or going long immediately one of those stickers because VIX continue to bounce, which is usually do at the bottom here. Just be careful. Obviously, you could slice right through the support, but just be careful. You just want to wait and see what happens around this area if you're going to take a trade. We could bounce, reject, and come back down at this 16 something area. Bull case scenario is that we bounce and continue to move to the upside. This is the least likely scenario, I think, unless you have some sort of major news is going to cause the market to continue to push to the downside. Let's look into SPY at a moment. These are the key levels I'm looking at here for VIX. Resistance is at $16 and 1743, the two major resistance. And support is going to be 1458 and 1412. So mark those on your charts. For SPY, we're looking at, we had a pretty decent close here going into Friday's session that I have here. Pretty decent close as you're trying to break out from this. Our target area actually was around this area. We came very close to that target area. And the reason I have that target area, which is using the FIPS, is because I had a target somewhere around the 0.5 to 0.618. We came right around that 0.5 area. Yeah, we can always reject and come down and fill that 0.618. That is not out of the woods yet. But we're at this moment, we're considering, we're just going to say, okay, maybe, and a big maybe, that this here has the retracement from Thursday, November 20th might be completed. There is still that bear case scenario where you can see a double correction, and a double correction would actually be something like this. Up here, you come up here and you reject, and you come down and you fill that 618 area over here. This would be the bear case scenario, so please be prepared for that as well. But we're not calling this yet as of now. We're calling this as the bottom. But be prepared. If you're trading this right now, just trade the key levels and understand the key levels. So right now, going into tomorrow's session, the key level you're looking at here is this 683 to 685. That's your key resistance level, the first set of resistance level that you will be getting into tomorrow, the major one. For support level, any pullback that you see tomorrow, you want to see that pullback hold this level here going into tomorrow's session. So you want to see that pullback or a retest of if you're going into tomorrow's session and you're making, you're going up here, you want to see any pullback support at this level here if you want to move back up. right? You want to see resistance flip as support, pretty much just what you want to see. So technically speaking, this was resistance, but we're just going to change this for now and just put that as a support area. Just going to leave that as support area, seeing that we're above this area here. So going into tomorrow, you want to see what happens at this area here, because if we come up to this area here, we're coming into resistance and VIX is heading into support. So that's an inflection point you want to be careful with. Going into tomorrow, same thing pretty much with QQQ. You're heading into resistance area at 826 to 828. That's your key level. Again, as you're heading into a resistance level here, let's just check where QQQ is currently trading at going into tomorrow. So you have, today. So you have QQQ. Pretty nice weekly close. Pretty incredible hammer. So I'm expecting more upside going into more upside. So pretty much this might be the bottom here. So we're currently trading at 816 level right now. 618 level. So yeah, going into tomorrow, this is your key level over here, and which is with that symmetrical triangle right over here. So if that's your key level you're looking at that, you're looking to see what VIX is doing at the bottom here. Again, inflection points. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, let's see here. Okay, IWM right now. Let's look at the daily chart. Currently, daily closes right into that supply zone or resistance area. Pretty decent volume kicking in there. You can see continued move to the upside. So we're overall we're bullish in IWM also. You're trying to break out of this 4 hour. There you go. You're breaking out of this 4 hours right here. Look like you want to move up because you're on the RSI, you're starting to carve up above the average. So I'm looking to see continued move to the upside. Want to see a break of this resistance area here. If you see any resistance going into tomorrow, it's going to be somewhere around that 255 area, 252, 255 right now. Let's see where IWM is trading at. Okay, so major area. If you go to daily, resistance area on the daily, you're looking at this here, the 252 area. That's a major resistance that you're looking at going into tomorrow. So you have to break. This is your area, 252. That's the area you want to break. You break this area, and you're looking at 255, 256, as I'm talking about. I like this rounding bottom. So once you break this 255, I think very quickly you'll get to 255, 256. But currently, we're trying to break to the upside here, as you can see. There, we're trying to break out of this area right here, and that flag pattern, which I showed you before as well. Yeah, so we continue to have a bias that we're going to move more to the upside. I just want to be careful with these key levels. And you have support here 248 and 247. For any pullback, you want to see these levels, 248 level hold. Let's take a look at, we're not really going to go into GDX much. Let me find another one here. Let's look at some stocks. Okay, this is Apple. Apple had a pretty bullish close as of Friday. Look at the volume. The last time you had that volume was somewhere over here. You had that volume, and Apple kind of moved up about, since you had this close here in Apple moved up about 18%, and you're seeing the same volume kicking in. And this was our entry actually, where I said, if you're longing Apple, long at the retest over here, where you're completing that ABC retracement to the downside, and that came from correcting the bottom over here. So you're correcting this bottom at the 618 to 0.786 level. You can see that, or you bottom somewhere over here. So this here was our long entry for an Apple. So we continue to remain bullish in Apple, with that volume, especially expecting a bit more upside in Apple. expect to break out of this range here and move to the upside. What you're looking for right now in Apple is you want to see a break of 275 to 280. You really want to see this level break. So going into tomorrow, this is the key level you're looking at for Apple tomorrow. Going into tomorrow to really 275 to 280, 80, 81-ish. That's your key resistance area. Any pullback that you have on Apple, you really want to see that pullback get hold at this area over here, which is 269. Any pullback you get, you want to see it hold to 269. Let's look at AMD. So AMD is a very tricky one. What I do like about AMD, we have two different scenarios here on AMD. We have a possible scenario where you're going to have a double correction. And what that's going to be is you're going to see a ABC pattern, which we saw play out here, ABC. And you're buying at the C level, but you could also have another A, B, and C, and you could break to the downside in a double correction, a WXY. If you're long AMD here, stay long. What I do like about AMD in this case is I'm seeing the volume kicking in. The buyers are bidding. You came down here, you kind of double bottom, buyers are bidding here. So that is telling me there's some sort of bidding happening at the bottom here to push the price up. So if you're long within this level, stay long. And if you pay attention to the volume coming down here under red days, the volume is not as much as decreasing below average. So you're seeing buyers stepping in here. So there's no reason to go scared and start selling your AMD position. You really want to get above this level. So if you're long, stay long. If you want to book some profit around this area, you book some profit, take out your capital if you need to, and just let profits just run if possible. Bear case scenario is that double retracement or double correction that you have that comes down here because you do have a daily gap that hasn't been filled yet. So you can fill this daily gap if you get a double correction. So just want you to be careful. Just know that there is a daily gap over there, and the key level you're working with is this previous 2024 all-time high, which is 227. That's a major level. Let's take a look at AMD, what it's doing right now. So AMD is currently trading at 216 area. So again, your major area you're looking at is 225 to 229 going into tomorrow. That's going to be your key resistance level, 225 to 229. That will be your area of interest if you're shorting or anything like that, which is this area here, right over here, 225 area. Let's look at Amazon. So we're not calling this to the downside yet, this double correction, because for all I know is that you've already, this bottom here has already been formed, and you're having a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 wave to the upside. So we can see a bullish case scenario play out here where we're getting a 5 wave move to the upside. And this entire wave 5 that I have over here, and this is wave 4, then this here will become wave 4, and you're looking at this becoming 5th wave to the upside. So I just want you to be cautious. AMD does look like it wants to move a bit more to the upside, so I want you to be careful. Not telling you to short AMD at the moment. This could be a breakdown for wave 4 instead. So just watch out for that, okay? So we need to be careful of all possible scenarios. So we're looking for both. If you're long here, stay long. I like the volume. So let's go into Amazon, but just know the key levels you're looking at. Okay. What we're looking here for Amazon is any sort of move to the upside, rejection, and back down. If you're long here, stay long because again, you can see Amazon continue to do the same thing. Amazon and AMD pretty much has the same setup. You can see Amazon push to the upside here and continue to move up, or you can see a rejection and breakdown. Not much of a trade here in Amazon, but do like the volume. Not liking the spread as much on the volume. So if you're long, stay long on Amazon. If it's holding this 222, just stay long. Google. Google has a pretty nice setup. I like Google setup. It's one I post in Discord. We were talking about this retest at this level here is the level you want to be long. Google came down, retested this level here, and you see big volume pump into Google. I like that VPA, volume price analysis on Google. So Google is the one I'm watching to go long, whether or not you go shares or options or anything like that. Google is the one that I'm currently looking at. Expect to see a bit more upside in Google. Want to see a breakout on Google here towards this 322. And if you get any kind of breakout on Google, want to see this breakout or so, or any kind of retest and continue to move up on Google. So want to see something like this or so on Google, or you could just go straight up and blast right past. So that's what I'm looking at for Google. Pretty bullish on Google there. I currently have a buy in Google. Let's look at Google here. Let's look at the daily for Google. Google looks pretty incredible, to be honest with you. So again, you have that retest in Google right over here. There's that retest right over here in Google. And you're seeing that volume pump in Google, and it looks like it wants to move to the upside. What I do like here in Google as well is this. Well, let's look at the weekly first of all. You look at the weekly, you have a pretty good bid here on the weekly. Hammer candle close, retest, and I think you could see a bit more upside with that pullback. And the daily chart I'm looking at for Google, you retested this level here in Google. And you continue to hold the 50 EMA. This here is a 50 EMA. As you see, since Google held the 50 EMA, it never lost the 50 EMA. It continued to hold the 50 EMA. So every time you get a pullback on Google, you continue to hold that 50 EMA. Might be a false breakdown here and continue to move up. Our target here is 359. We're looking at for Google. If your stop is if you start losing the 50 EMA at the bottom here. So pretty nice setup, bullish setup on Google. Let's take a look at, let me see, what else do I want to look at here? Meta. Okay, let's take a look at Meta really fast. So Meta is one of them I'm looking at right here for Meta. What I don't like in Meta, first of all, Meta is above this retest or support level. We saw a huge rejection off of this area here. And now, as of Friday, huge selling volume on Meta. When you're looking at the 4-hour Meta, there's this bear flag that you have here in Meta. So you could obviously see Meta continue to push to the upside here and then get some sort of rejection, maybe a double top or something. But what I'm looking at for Meta right now is possible, based on if you get a breakdown of Meta here because of that daily volume I'm looking at, and you're seeing some selling volume even on the 4-hour. If you get a break to the downside, I want to see a preferred entry for Meta within this box over here, which is 618 to 602, but you would have to break support at 631. So for Meta, I'm just going to stay still for a moment. No entry here on Meta because you're trading right at from the top here, retracement level, the bottom here. You're trading right where you tend to see some sort of rejection, which is this area here, the 618 to the 0.5. So you're trading right within this area here where you tend to see some sort of rejection. So I want to wait and see because I would like to at least see some sort of retracement back down to that 618,786 area. So no trades here on Meta. Meta could actually start moving to the upside again, but I just want to hold off on Meta for now. So no trades really in Meta. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. What I love about NVIDIA. NVIDIA came back down within this accumulation range that I've had here. Within this accumulation range, what I'm seeing on NVIDIA is the volume price analysis. You're seeing here, buyers are bidding NVIDIA as it came down to this level here, which is a 673 to about, let me move this over here, which is 669, 673. So you're continuously holding every time we come down here. Buyer stepped in, come down here, buyer stepped in at this level here again, key level. So these are the key level I'm looking at for NVIDIA. So I like the setup. You kind of double bottom on NVIDIA. Major level here that we're looking at is this 684 level in NVIDIA. So I like NVIDIA here because you never create a new low. You got bidding here with buyer stepping in. You're in a falling wedge or a bull flag, whichever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter to me. So you can see a continued push. My target for NVIDIA would be that $200 area. Once you get above this 184, I think you're going to get to that 202 area, 195 to 202. That would be my level here for NVIDIA. Let's do our FIB extension tool. Bottom here. There you go. 202 area. So you could see my area of interest would be once you get that push, and I think you could see that happen very soon, is right at that area over here. That's my key area of interest for NVIDIA. Let's take a look at NVIDIA here. So you have NVIDIA, key levels in NVIDIA as well. Buyers that step in here again. Buyers stepped in here again. So you're seeing that bidding at this area here. So I like the bidding. So if you're long here, stay long in NVIDIA. Key area of resistance 185. You get to that, get over that, you're going to go to this 195 to 201 area, which is your next areas level, like the double bottom setup as I talked about here. One of the things that I'm paying attention here to as well, which I posted, let me see here if I could look at it, NVIDIA here. All right, so NVIDIA, here you go, back into that accumulation range. The only thing you're looking at is any rejection at this 185, as I told you, which is at that 50 EMA. You get above this level, and I think you're going to see a blast off, a push to the upside. Look at the volume. Love the volume. You're starting to stay, you want to stay above the volume point of control here in the daily. So like NVIDIA on the long side here so far. Any breakdown is a rejection here, as I said. Bear case scenario would be a push here and a breakdown to the downside, and you reject. All right, that would be your bear case scenario if you are to have that. One of the things, let me see if I can pull it up here, is that NVIDIA was getting some call options, some flow coming in. Let me try to find it here in the Discord. Okay. So I posted NVIDIA. Some calls were coming in. This is it right here. We're seeing some calls coming in for NVIDIA, multiple sweeps coming in for the $200 strike price and the 190. So you could take a screenshot of this. So quite some bidding there on the calls itself. So that's something we've been watching as well. So targeting that $200 area. All right, let me see what else I have here. Tesla, of course. Key area for Tesla is this 496 area. We're watching for Tesla. Still think Tesla has a bit more upside that we can see on Tesla. So going into tomorrow, or today, key level you're watching at is this one 495 area that you want to see in Tesla. If you could break above that 495 level, that I would be watching is somewhere between the around this what is this 515 area. I would be watching, which is right over here. So if you break above 495, you can see a test of this area over here before you see some sort of rejection and pullback. Okay, let me see here. That is for Tesla. And key level, let's look at the key level, TSLA. Key level, you're in one of the major all-time high resistance, pretty much previous all-time high, which is right over here, 495. So this is the area you're careful with. If you start seeing some chop around this area with high volume on the high volume, just be careful because you can see some sort of distribution. So yeah, be careful at this level, especially if you're jumping in, you're trying to FOMO or anything like that. Let me see. Okay, if anybody, that's it pretty much. We're tracking ARM actually. ARM if ARM holding. Still think you got a bit more downside to go for ARM to this area here of $100 or even all the way down to fill this gap completely here. So still think you got a bit more downside within this target area. So that's one of them I've been tracking. And this would be the area of interest. 103 to 113 if I want to see any kind of bid here. If not, you can see a base form and a break to the downside again. Yeah, so let me see what else I have. Netflix, still looking at Netflix, trying to form a base within this level. Sorry about that. Trying to form a base at that level. Technically, I would rather see, if it's forming a base, I would like to see a base that's formed that looks like, sort of like this. Some sort of rounding top and move to the upside. Right now, that base is not being formed, really. Don't really like that base, and you're currently getting rejected off of the daily 9 EMA consistently. So if you're getting rejected here, just be careful. If not, you could see a move up and getting rejected off of the 50 EMA right over here, which is the bottom of the trend. So still think you could see a bit more downside on Netflix, but I could be wrong. Let's take a look at it, what I have here. So yeah, so key area I'm looking at for Netflix here is this area over here. I want to see that area hold. Right now you're just forming a base. Want to see what's going on within that base. You want to see this base hold and move to the upside, and you can see rejection here. So if you're long here, stay long. You start breaking. If you start breaking this area here, that's your stop. $92 is probably your stop. So again, your area of interest is going to be this area to see it's forming a base. You want to see what happens within 97 and 92, pretty much within that base. If you're going to break, reject, retest, and up, or you're just going to break down. Netflix has pending news with acquisition. MSTR. Still think MSTR could see a bit more downside here as you're completing this entire move here. So I still think you can see more downside. Nothing really much to talk about. MSTR still below this area here, broke below its range, rejected the range. And if you start breaking below 155 area, you're going to form a new low. Nothing much here. MSTR, AVGO. Let's see here. That's what I've been talking about. So AVGO came down to our gap area that I've been looking at. Incredible volume pumped in on AVGO here. So this here would be either a false breakdown we're looking at, or we're seeing a decent close in AVGO. So I would pay attention to AVGO here. If you're long at this level, keep holding it. The bear case scenario would be any sort of rejection here. Let's take a look at it. AVGO, this is going to be our last chart we're looking at. AVGO. So any sort of rejection, but technically, if you start moving above this volume point of control back into this range, I think you'll see more upside. Love the volume on the weekly. You're closing within on the weekly. Look at the volume. So you have bearish RSI. If you're long here, just stay long on AVGO, kind of like the setup. Move to the upside. Let me see where AVGO is. AVGO. Okay, you have the 200 EMA here. The 4 hour, currently you're trading at 344, 345 right now. All right, guys, that's it. Those are my key levels. Those are the charts I'm looking at right now. Have a wonderful trading day tomorrow. Take care. Bye.